training as we look at how we may better be able to take care of our health and how we may enable our bodies to be disease resistant. And where there is disease, bring about the conditions whereby healing may be obtained by using God's methods, right? All of you here are our clients, so you know we use methods that are in line with the methods given to us by God through the 8 laws of health, right? But this evening, we're not looking at the 8 laws of health. We are looking at one of the most important processes that is necessary to bring about the conditions in the body whereby healing may be obtained naturally. You know, you're helping the body's own immune system. You're helping the body's own immune system to do the work of healing. Now, for healing to take place, the body needs to be clean. It needs to be what? It needs to be clean, right? Now, how does the body cleanse itself? God has designed the body in such a way that every system plays a very important role. And for cleaning, there is the system of detoxification through the organs of elimination. There are specific organs designed to detoxify the body by eliminating from the body anything that is not needed, not necessary, anything that is harmful, that is toxins, waste, and other refuse that the body doesn't need or is harmful to the body. God designed it that it clean itself through the organs of elimination. Now, what are some of these systems or organs that the body uses to cleanse itself? There are 7 organs and body systems that work together to filter and eliminate toxins, pathogens, and metabolic wastes. What are these organs and systems? You have the intestine, which is an organ, right? Made up of the small intestines, the large intestines, and the rectum, right? There is the liver, which is also an organ. I am picking out the organs first, right? There's the liver. There is the which basically purifies anything that is in the blood, right? Any of these toxins or pathogens, metabolic waste or anything like that that needs to be filtered out of the blood or neutralized. Liver plays a very important role. So does the kidneys, the lungs, and the skin. Yes, your skin is an organ. It is the largest organ in the body. Then you have a system here, which is the lymphatic system, right? Made up of the lymph nodes and the lymph vessels, all connected together throughout the body. There's an entire pathway, where, lymphatic fluid flows, and it plays a very important role in terms of our immunoregulation. As a matter of fact, I would say that lymphatic system is the bedrock of our immune system. That's where the white blood cells hang out and all those kind of things. And they also have, of course, blood. So these are the 7 organs and body systems that work together to do the function of elimination. So why are these organs necessary? These organs of elimination, why are they necessary? It's because the human body is exposed to a wide range of toxins, pollutants in our environment, and harmful substances on a daily basis. In order to maintain optimal health and well-being, it is essential for the body to detoxify and eliminate these harmful substances. And where do they come from? Pollutants, that is from our environment. We heard about metabolic waste. Everyone knows that your body is basically a big chemical factory, for lack of a better word. There are a lot of biochemical processes that take place to support life, and these processes produce byproducts or waste material that in some cases can even be harmful. Like, for example, um, for those of you who may have done a little bit of biology, your body produces energy in the mitochondria using something called the Krebs cycle, right? It's a biochemical process. And some of the byproducts of the Krebs cycle, for example, is carbon dioxide. If carbon dioxide builds up in the body, right? Carbon dioxide, when it is dissolved in blood, forms carbonic acid, which is acidic. So your blood becomes more and more acidic. And if it gets too high, you can literally die, right? So the body has to get rid of carbon dioxide from out of the body. Where does carbon dioxide come out from? It comes out, it is eliminated through the lungs, right? Through expiration, right? When you expire, you exhale waste carbon dioxide, which is a byproduct of a metabolic process, right? Energy production through the Krebs cycle, right? So, and there are other toxins too. We breathe. Unfortunately, we live in a highly industrialized society. The factories are pumping out all sorts of garbage in the air. We breathe it in, unavoidably. Your body has to have a mechanism by which it can get rid of all of these toxins, all of these metabolic waste byproducts, and it has been doing so on a continual basis to maintain optimal health. And our bodies, as I said before, were designed 7 channels of elimination. As I said before, lungs, liver, skin, kidneys, colon, lymph, and blood. And all those work together to cleanse the toxins out of our system. So it's very important for us as we seek to learn how to better manage our body so that it can be in the optimal health. We need to understand the channels of elimination and detoxification. Because when toxins and waste byproducts build up in the system, it can lead to diseased conditions. And when I think about some specific ones, cancer is one that pops up into my mind. A toxic body, you know, the conditions are ripe for the development of cancer. Some of these toxins can literally damage your DNA, right? And it is when the DNA, the law book that governs the function of the cell, when that law book, that DNA is damaged and the cell no longer begins to obey any law and start to just do what it wants to do, doesn't want to die on time, starts to multiply um, you know, progressively, and starts to build up a tumor, can lead into cancer. All these things are usually precipitated by like a toxic overload of the body and many other conditions, right? So if we are trying to, deal with any of these conditions, we need to understand how it is that the body achieves um the process of eliminating these toxins and detoxification. Now, let us look at the skin. Now, everybody knows what perspiration is, right? That is when you sweat. Your skin has an entire system within its structure that supports perspiration. And if you look at your screen, you'll see that, the skin has 3 layers, right? I'm looking at the picture, it's a little bit blurry. But if you look over to the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see like a bar and it's separated into 3 sections, right? Those are the 3 layers of the skin. The uppermost layer of the skin is called the epidermis, and that is the outside part that we can all see when you look at our hands. What you're looking at right there is the epidermis, right? Where the hairs are coming out from. Right underneath the epidermis, you have the dermis, which is called the second layer of the skin, right? And right below that, you have another layer, the subcutaneous tissue, that is the fatty layer of your skin. Okay, and within the skin, there are various structures. You have the hair, and you can see all the various structures that support the hair, but we're not interested in those ones. We are particularly interested in the structure that produces sweat. And as you can see, there is a sweat gland, and you see a duct or tubule that, intertwines with the blood supply, the capillary blood supply, right? And that leads out to a pore. That sweat gland, its job is to produce sweat. And that little duct that you see winding around there going up to the pore, that there is there to transport that sweat outside through the pore onto the skin. Well, but what you should really be paying close attention to is the interplay between the sweat gland and the blood vessels. That's right. So what happens is that this gland is able to leach, you know, toxins from out of the blood into the sweat gland and helps you to produce sweat. Sweat is not just there to cool you down. Of course, when you're hot, you're gonna sweat. There's a function there where the sweat evaporates on your skin, cools you down, but it is also there to help the body manage, or should I say, detoxify, eliminate toxins and toxic byproducts from various metabolic processes and all that kind of stuff. Plays a very important role as one of the organs of elimination through the process of perspiration. The skin. This is often the most forgotten or overlooked channel of elimination. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even recognize that the skin is an organ of elimination. They just think sweat is just there to cool you down. No, it is actually a channel of elimination. Perspiration, also known as sweating, is a process of releasing sweat from the sweat glands in the skin. And we just looked at the sweat glands. We just looked at that structure. This process is crucial for regulating body temperature and is also an important eliminatory channel for toxins. Sweat can contain a variety of toxins and waste products, including heavy metals, environmental pollutants, and metabolic waste. Through perspiration, these toxins can be carried out of the body, reducing the burden on other eliminatory channels. As a matter of fact, usually when the other channels of elimination are overwhelmed, the body tends to use the skin as an emergency outlet to let these toxins, be released from the body. We regularly disrupt our natural ability to sweat by using antiperspirant deodorants and creams in areas we want to decrease production. This can shut down a significant percentage of the eliminatory capabilities of this pathway, which can result in that burden being compensated for in other channels. And can you imagine what will happen if the other channels are already overburdened and then you're using antiperspirant deodorants, you're using foundation and makeup, you're putting in all sorts of cream on the skin, you're going to end up with serious problems. And this particular one is, our females need to pay very particular attention to this one, right? I've heard in other forums where doctors who treat women who have breast cancer, and what they've said is normally when they're operating on the breast cancer and they open up, the patient to help cut out the tumor, there's often a very overwhelming, overpowering scent of, guess what? Sweat, right? The skin is trying to eliminate toxins and you are blocking the channel, and then the toxins turn back in on the body. There's something about toxins that it seems to like fatty tissues. Toxins tend to accumulate in fatty tissues, right? And the breast has a lot of fat in it, right? So our females need to be very careful in their use of antiperspirant deodorants because what will happen is that when you block that channel, it's quite possible the observations that have been made, it seems that the fatty tissue of the breast would like to absorb those toxins. And as I said before earlier, those toxins can damage DNA and lead to tumor and cancer development. Okay? So the skin, very important pathway of elimination. And for another thing that you need to pay very close attention to is your sweat. Sometimes you need to pay attention if the scent of your sweat. Dr. Lamley likes to say that odors within like to come right back out, right? If you find yourself when you're sweating and you don't have any deodorant on and you're just sweating naturally or maybe using a natural deodorant and you find that your sweat is very pungent, very, very, very high, it points to the fact that you may be suffering from a little bit of toxic overload on the inside and you need to, do a serious whole body detox. Continuing, as our sensory system or nervous system plays a significant role in regulation and sweat initiation, conditions of excess sweating, hyperhidrosis or depleted, which is hypohidrosis, sweating can point to communication problems within our parasympathetic nervous system and vagus nerve. So what is that saying to us? If you find that you are at any extreme when it comes to sweating, meaning extreme meaning that you sweat profusely, you sweat very excessively when you're hot, you just sweat is dripping all over you, or the place is very hot, but yet you're not producing any form of sweat, it can point to the fact that there is some communication issue within your nervous system, Your nerves will sense the fact that you're a little bit overheated, and it should be sending a signal to your body to produce sweat, but it should be in a regulated amount. If the sweat is pouring off of you, or there's an absence of sweat, even though the place is hot, it points to the fact that there may be some issue in that communications channel. And the part of your nervous system that speaks to that is your vagus nerve and your parasympathetic nervous system. Let's look at the next organ of elimination, which is your lungs. That most important organ of ours, right? As you can see, the structure of the lungs right there on your on the slide here on your screen. The lungs made up of the trachea, the bronchial tubes, the bronchioles, and the alveoli. And as you can see, it looks like a branch of a tree going all the way down to the leaves. The reason why the lungs look like this is so that it can have a very, very large surface area, right? If we were to take your lungs and we were to spread out, cut and spread individually each of these alveoli and all of the inner surfaces of the lung, you would almost have a football field wide of tissues, right? So very large surface area to facilitate gaseous exchange. And as you can see, each of the alveoli, they are wrapped with blood vessels. You have the arteries bringing in, you have the veins bringing in deoxygenated blood. High in carbon dioxide, gaseous exchange takes place through the inner surface of the alveoli. Carbon dioxide goes out, oxygen goes in, right? And the blood is reoxygenated. That blood is recirculated back directly to the heart and pumped back through the body. Now the lungs. Respiration or breathing is another key eliminator channel for toxins. When we breathe, we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. But we also inhale and exhale a range of other substances, including environmental pollutants, fragrances, molds, and toxins. Now, the lungs act as a filter, trapping these harmful substances and eliminating them from the body through exhalation. Additionally, deep breathing techniques can help facilitate the elimination of toxins by increasing oxygen flow to the cells and promoting the release of toxins through the breath. Breathing is an under-recognized health tool. Another interesting way that respiration is an eliminatory channel is when it comes to weight loss. Now, let me break that down a little bit for you. Now, all of you, having come to us should know that the first law of health is what? Let me see if anybody, I'm going to give a quick test. Can anybody tell us what is the first law of health? Any one of our clients, what is the first law of health that you have learned coming to us? Anyone? And let me see if anybody's answering in the chat. Rest. No, it's
Pure
not
air.
rest. Who said that?
Pure air, brother Tesmond.
Yes, who said who is speaking? Let me get your name.
It's Roxy.
Roxy, okay, get a triple A. Roxy, that is right. Pure air. Sister Cameron, you said rest. Boy, this was a giveaway, Sister Cameron. We're talking about the lungs, and I asked you, what is the first law of health? No, we're not resting with our lungs. We're breathing with our lungs, and we are breathing pure air. It is the first law of health, right? I know we don't consider air to be a nutrient, but it is, I think, the most important. You can put nutrient in quotation marks there. We can live probably about a good 40 days without food, maybe near a week without water, but how long can we live without air? Not more than a few minutes. So air is number one, yet it is an under-recognized health tool. Now, let me give you a practical example whereby we can prove that the lungs is an organ of elimination. Let us say a policeman observes someone. I'm sure it will never be none of you. Somebody driving all over the road, them swinging on the soft shoulder, they rub up in some bush, them run up on the curb, swing across their lane. The police stops them and he's going to test them. What is that tool that the police uses to test to see if that person is inebriated, right? To see if they're drunk. Anybody knows the name of the tool? They are the name of the test?
Breathalyzer. It's a breathalyzer.
Breathalyzer.
Right, the breathalyzer test. And what's it testing for?
If you're intoxicated,
With what?
alcohol.
Alcohol.
Alcohol, exactly. Alcohol is a deadly toxin to the human body, and the body will pick it up, and the body will doing everything to get rid of this toxin. The poor liver is working overtime, but the poor liver need help. So the body calls the lungs into action, and it actually starts to try and, you know, eliminate some of the alcohol through the breath. As a matter of fact, the lungs does an extremely good job of eliminating alcohol through the breath because it's a volatile organic compound, right? And it is very easy to cross the cell membrane barrier, get out into the lungs, and the lungs can breathe it out. So the body will try and transport as much alcohol out through the lungs, using it as a channel of elimination, right? And there are many others too, aldehydes, and let's not get into those chemical names, but understand what I'm saying, right? The lungs is a very important channel of elimination that we often overlook. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even look at exhalation as an excretory process. They just think it's just breathing in and out. But every time you exhale, it is an excretory process that is taking place. The lungs is a very important channel of elimination. In a study looking at how fat is broken down and eliminated from the body during weight loss, it is determined that the overwhelming majority of this takes place by exhaling, right? So, especially during exercise, right? And when you're doing the right type of exercise where the body switches from burning glucose to burning fat, right? You will find that a lot of ketones and other aldehydes start to come out through the breath because the body is metabolizing fat, using it as an energy source, and then it is getting rid of the byproducts through the lungs. All right, a lot of you, I bet a lot of you didn't know that one. According to researchers from the University of New South Wales in Australia, when weight is lost, the majority of it is breathed out as carbon dioxide. Their paper is published in the Christmas issue of the BMJ. I guess that is a journal, right? Excess dietary carbohydrates and protein are converted to a type of fat called triglyceride. That means it has three tails on the molecule, hence for the reason why it is called tri. Triglycerides are composed of three types of atoms: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Triglyceride molecules can be broken down only by unlocking these atoms through a process known as oxidation. Fat is converted to carbon dioxide and water that can be breathed out as well as burnt off as you lose weight. And this is not when exercise, this is just by just breathing, right? Exercising uses another um, method, but nevertheless, the lungs play an important role in getting rid of the waste material. In order for 10 kilograms of human fat to be oxidized or lost, the researchers calculated that 29 kilograms of oxygen must be inhaled. Focusing on good quality, deep breathing can benefit our detoxification systems, our nervous systems, and importantly, females, our waistline. Now, let's look at the kidneys, right? These are those bean-shaped organs, usually more towards the back. And when people think of the kidneys, they always think about urine production. Let's look at it. I'm not able to see this picture very well, but nevertheless, I'll just explain what you're seeing in front of it here. As with all the other organs of elimination, you will see that blood supply plays a very crucial role, right? All of these organs require a good, that's the word I want to use. I don't want to use the word connection, but a good supply of blood in and a good supply of blood out, because the toxins are usually being filtered from out of the blood. Now, if this picture was a higher resolution, you'll be able to notice that the kidneys are in sections, right? And these sections have structures that are called the nephron. The word is slipping me right now. All right. But very little structures where the blood supply breaks all the way down to capillaries that surround these structures, so that um the smallest unit of the kidney structure is able to get out of the blood, the waste, and then all the waste comes together into one big tube that goes down the urethra. All right, and that's what produces urine. I don't really know about the structure right now. Maybe next week we can look back at it. All right. The kidneys are responsible for filtering waste products from the blood and eliminating them from the body through urination. Urine contains a variety of waste products, including urea, creatine, and excess water, as well as toxins and other harmful substances. Through urination, the body eliminates these water-soluble waste products and reduces the burden on other eliminatory channels. You see why we need to take care of every single system of the body? Any dysfunction in one system affects all the others. Okay? If we are dehydrated, we can impair the efficiency of this eliminatory channel. Make sure that we are consuming at least 3 to 4 liters of water daily. That can help keep things moving and provide enough hydration to dilute urinary fluids. And as we're going through these various organs of elimination, we want to make sure that we are linking them to the laws of health. Which law of health do you think this particular organ of elimination is linked to? Somebody quickly. Which law of health? Come, I need to give out a triple A. Who's getting my triple A this evening? All right, Sister Cameron, you are redeeming yourself. Water. Yes, Sister Bent, indeed. Water. Nephrites. Ah, that is the right. I know it was neph, but I couldn't remember the rest of it. Right? The nephron and nephrites. Thank you so much for jogging my memory. Those are the smallest units that are contained within the kidney, right? And then, when like I wish we had the picture right there, but just try and imagine that you have some pipes, right? Going like a loop, and around it is a mesh. The mesh around those pipes would be the capillaries, right? Blood in and blood out through the capillaries. When blood going through the capillaries, they have to go in cell by cell, meaning that the capillary is only wide enough to accommodate like a single file of blood cells. God is so awesome in his design, right? So that means the blood is filtered down to the smallest level, which is the size of a red blood cell, right? And then you have the tubules of the nephrites that goes down into this net of capillaries. It is shaped like a bag. And inside them are very small pores, for lack of a better word. The word is not pores, right? It's what you call a semi-permeable membrane of that tube. And it is sized to a very specific that selectively allows for toxins to filter into those tubes. I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can. So the toxins, for lack of a better word, fall out of the blood into these tubes along with other things, right? And then that fluid is transported along the nephrite, and there are other processes that take place that looks at what is in that fluid, inside of that fluid, and anything that is good is taken back out of it, and what is left behind is the waste material, the excess water, and the waste that is flushed all the way down to the bladder to be excreted as urine. It's a very amazing process. If you guys have time, you should read up on it. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. But yes, very important to that process is that the body needs to have an adequate supply of water. 3 to 4 liters of water per day. That is 2 of that big bottle there. That the water bottle. The large one, not the 5 gallon, the next size down, which is the 1.5 liter. So 1.5 plus 1.5 is 3 liters. So at least that, 2 of those you should be drinking each day, and even another one for good measure. That way you will keep things, flowing smoothly through this particular organ of elimination called the kidney. Proper hydration helps to reduce the concentration of any toxins as they pass through our delicate kidney systems. And you can imagine why it is so delicate, because, as I said, the capillaries are so fine that blood cells can only pass through them at single file. Try and imagine how small that is. So that means a very delicate structure, right? Very sensitive to, guess what? Tell me, what condition do you think will do some serious damage to this system? Anybody? I want you guys to be trained to be able to reason from cause to effect. Name one health condition that you think can do significant damage to this delicate system based on how I just described it. Let me go to my chat and see if any of my bright students can tell me.
Dehydration.
Well, we read dehydration right here, so it can't be that one we're talking about, right? So we know that proper hydration is necessary for the proper function of the system, but I'm asking, listen to my question carefully. What health condition do you think can do serious damage to the system? All right, kidney stones. Yes, kidney stones is very, very, very bad. It can damage the structures, but I'm thinking of a health condition that can damage the entire kidney at one time. I'm giving you 10 more seconds, guys. 10 more seconds. Listen what I'm saying. Diabetes. It is true. Diabetes damage everything inside the body. But think again what I'm saying. Those very, yes, Sister Nelson. Triple A, hypertension. That is high blood pressure. High blood pressure, anybody who have high blood pressure, start to worry about your kidneys. You need to get rid of that immediately, because these blood vessels are so small, right? Imagine you trying to pump blood at high pressure through these little channels that are so small that blood have to line up single file, cell by cell going through. High blood pressure will destroy the whole of that structure right there, which is why I always say there is an unholy trinity between kidney disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. All right. So thank you very much, Sister Nelson. That is two triple A's. Hypertension, high blood pressure really puts pressure on your kidneys. Now, let's move on to the next system, which is the bowels, that is the intestines. And here you have a little diagram at a little better quality, where you are able to see the various structures that make up the colon. Right? You see the stomach right up there. You should be able to see my mouse right up there. That's the stomach, and it goes down into the small intestines, which gives way to the large intestines, going all the way down to the rectum and out through the anus. And if you're interested, you can see all the other fancy names that are given to the various sections, right? But we are more interested in what is the overall function of the intestines, aka the bowels. What role does it play in the in the process of detoxifying the body and eliminating toxins? So the digestive system is one of our most obvious. Everyone should know that one. Obvious, because after you eat and your food is digested and the draught is left behind, it is eliminated through the anus, through the process of defecation, right? And you get rid of the stool. That's the waste material, right? So that's one of the most obvious detoxification systems, because you definitely don't want that staying inside of you, right? Can you imagine if, you know, you were never able to pass your stool and all that stuff stays inside of you, you will be poisoned to death, right? Opening the bowels daily with an easy to pass stool will ensure we are keeping things moving and clearing quickly. If we have slow or infrequent bowel movement, it means that toxins are sitting in our fecal matter waiting for excretion, can be reabsorbed into our system. Especially in the cases of dehydration, the body reabsorbs water from the stool. Very important here, friends. Because we have some people who talk about they don't have a movement for 3, 4, 5 days. Can you imagine what is going on? All that food sitting inside of them that has been digested and the waste material that has been left behind. It is, you know, fermenting and putrefying, producing toxins, basically rotting down, right? And what is happening is that the longer it sits in the system, your body is actually able to 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 absorb from the stool that is left behind. It can be reabsorbed back into your system, right? And then in cases where you are already dehydrated, right? When you're dehydrated, the body will literally pull back water from wherever it can. It will pull water from your eyes. It will pull water from your skin. It will pull back water from your stool. Could you hold on 1 second? Right. Sorry about that, guys. Right? There, what was I saying now? When you're dehydrated, right? The body will now pull water from wherever. As I said, it will pull water from your eyes, it will pull water from your joints, pull water from your skin, and it will pull water from your stool. Now imagine you have stool sitting inside of you. You know, you had some chicken wings, some KFC, some Burger King, maybe like 5 days ago, and you have not passed your stool. Now, what happens when you put chicken or Burger King on the counter for 5 days? It rots, right? Same things will be happening inside your your bowels. That food will be rotting. And then most of us we don't drink enough water. So then your body will be going to what I would call a putrid source, right? A cesspool, drinking water from a cesspool to feed the body. What do you think is coming into the body as the intestines is drawing that water from that putrid stool? The very same toxins, the various
Mm,
bacteria, the various
bacteria.
environmental toxins, all sort of stuff. Bacteria, yes, but worse than bacteria. What about all of the byproducts? Because remember that bacteria are living organisms, right? And funguses are living organisms. And they also have metabolic processes. And these things produce waste products, right? All that will be drawn into the body from the intestines at a very high rate because the intestines are now being um ordered by the body to draw out moisture to keep your hydration up because you are dehydrated. You see how serious this thing is? And then it becomes a vicious cycle. Because when the stool becomes dehydrated, it becomes what? Harder and even more difficult for you to eliminate. All right. If this occurs, those same toxins then need to be dealt with again for a second time. This places a significant, keyword here, significant, big braggadocious burden on this pathway. To keep things moving, the digestive system depends on the liver and the gallbladder to secrete bile into the small intestines, which help break down fats and bind toxins. These waste products are then carried through the bowel movements for elimination. A diet that is low in fiber or dehydration or dysbiosis, aka that is an imbalance in the gut microbial community that is associated with disease can decrease the optimal functioning of the bowels, resulting in constipation and other unpleasant digestive issues. And not only that, it can cause many other diseases. And I'm thinking autoimmune diseases. right? Anytime you have an imbalance or dysbiosis um in the gut flora, the gut microbiome, one of the biggest results usually is immunological diseases, autoimmune diseases, and a host of others. But that is the top one on my mind because we deal with so much autoimmune on a daily basis. So that's one that is just sitting right there on the top of my head. Another thing that it can cause is very smelly sweats, you know, because as Doc likes to say, the scents that are within tend to come out in your sweat, right? So we need to have a very high fiber diet, the fruits and vegetables need to be up, So question again, when we're talking about the bowels, which law of health is coming to your mind, guys? Which two laws of health should be quickly coming to your mind? Let me go to the chat and see if anybody will be getting my triple A again. Shanar says some pork. Exactly. Can you imagine pork sitting in your system? And swine flesh is a type of flesh that was designed to hold toxins because we know that the pig is one of the cleaners that God has designed. But come on, guys, tell to me what laws of health come to your mind when you think about the bowel? What two laws of health should come quickly to your mind?
Nutrition and exercise.
Aha. Well, I'm not thinking exercise, but exercise plays an important role, yes, because it helps to tone the digestive system, right? But that is a lesser order than the two laws of health that I'm thinking of that you should be able to pick up immediately from this presentation. So we have proper diet. Indeed, your diet needs to have enough fiber. And we know that fiber is what feeds the gut microbiome. Fiber is what gives your stool the bulk to help it
Water,
move along. Thank you very
water,
much.
water.
Water, proper diet and water. Guys, do not underestimate the 8 laws of health, right? It is linked to every single system of the body, all right? So diet is going to be very important. And of course, we know that a meat-based diet is not the best because meat has no fiber. Meat don't contribute nothing to the movement of stool through your system. As a matter of fact, it will help to hinder it. It will increase the toxic load because these animals, especially in today's environment, and especially how these animals are raised in chicken prison and cow dungeons, right? These industrialized plants that prioritize profit over the health of the human being. And even, well, if they don't care about you, how much you think they're going to care about the health of these poor cows and chicken and whatever else and animals that they are producing, right? They are just a dollar sign. They care zero, right? So imagine the cows now or the chickens. They are locked up in these factories. They are stomping up all day in their own filth, in their own feces and urines. They are stacked up on one another. They don't have no fresh air. They ain't got no sunlight. Can you imagine how toxic these animals are? Because just like us, they have organs and systems of elimination that are going to be affected by their diet. And on top of it, they are fed an unnatural diet. Cows weren't made to eat cow feeding. Cows were made to eat grass and the plant material. They're supposed to be outside in the sunlight, walking miles upon miles every day, moving from one grazing spot to another great grazing spot. These cows in some of these plants, if they could commit suicide, they would, because cows are highly intelligent and social animals, right? They can get depressed, they can get sad, they can release a lot of negative hormones and chemicals into their blood that actually poisons their meat. And then you go eat it. So imagine when you eat these food, the toxic overload that you're taking into your body. And then because it's not there is no fiber. Most people eating white rice and white bread, so and drinking soda. So there's not enough fiber in their body. So this stuff takes all a few months to pass through the digestive system. When it done, man, you are poisoned, totally poisoned, and you don't even recognize it. And then you wonder, why the cancer? Why the diabetes? Why this? Why that? Why am I having thyroid issues? And all this kind of stuff directly linked to what we are eating and the impacts that it is having on our organs, especially our organs of elimination. All right, so this is really stuff that we need to think very deeply about. Now, let's look at the liver. This is Dr. Lamley's favorite organ.
Yes, and I'm right here. I don't want us to get into the liver for this week, Brother Tess. Yeah, you know that's my pet topic. But
Oh, okay,
because
okay. I won't step on your sacred ground, doctor.
well, the thing is, we're at 8:22, so we're closing at 8:30. But there are some very important points that you had looked at in those that we have done already. When we last week we started with this skin, and when we look at that, we were saying that, and one of the instruction I gave us last week, I said, listen, go into your room and see if your underarm deodorant writes antiperspirant. I said, if you see that written on it, take it and throw it in your garbage bin immediately. All right? Next morning, you better you use a little cornstarch or a little lemon juice or something under your arm, but do not even for another day, put antiperspirant under your arm. We also introduce persons to the clay dry underarm deodorant that is at Maranatha, because that one, it is made with clay, it's aluminum free, and all natural ingredients, and that's the one that I use. So we introduce that one to persons who are interested in getting that. Also, we look at some of the lotions and creams that they use. All right, and then when you look, you mentioned the lungs, and one of the things that we look at, Brother Tiz, when we are talking about the lungs and the breathing, and the organ is not getting the opportunity to free itself because of the amount of toxin, is even the things that we wash our clothes with. We like to have them smelling nice, so we put a lot of chemicals on our clothes and bleach. By now, for those who have been on Far Mountain and have been in the training, you know that we have bleach very much, that we use baking soda or vinegar in our wash. You can put a little peppermint, but we do not advise that person take it. It's so very toxic to the system. So our washing, all right, one as a matter of fact, one of the evenings we're going to ask our chemical engineers to do that presentation on some of the toxic things that we are using to put on our clothes. And when they go on our clothes, they stay there. All right. And for those who are local or international, and you want to know more about some of the things that you can use as alternative to the normal washing products that you know, you can always put your number in the chat, and Shanar will take it from there, and we can introduce it to other things, healthier. All right, healthier products that you can use. We are into health, and God has blessed us with these organs of elimination, and we have to use them well, because if we don't allow them to do their function, they are going to make us sick. They are going to let us stay sick. But we have been there, Brother Tess, and we have seen persons who have come to us, and when we help them to eliminate, I have one young lady, she had depression. And the first week of doing the cleanse, that when I saw the girl the next time, she was on top of the world. She didn't even remember she had depression. All right. So because of the clog, all the system has been clogged, and we are not doing anything much, we are putting more things that's clogging the system. So we need to do that. For those who have their colon and you have been eating all kind of things, and you want to give it a flush, there is a detox kit that's called Designer's Choice. All right, designer's choice. And that one is a 7 days cleanse that can help you nicely to clean up that colon and help to eliminate. Some persons, they don't use the bathroom every day. I don't. They every other day and 2 days, and sometimes they eat maybe more than 2 times, and they might only use the bathroom 1 time. All of these things, they're affecting. There's no good health without good bowel health. All right, so we are going to be looking a little deeper in this one, Brother Ted. Next week, we want to look at your bowels, because even your eating pattern is going to affect it. So that's something we want to delve into a little more. So we want to take the little time that's left to ask if there's any question, anything that stood out for anyone, and you want to make a comment on that. This is your time. Anything? Anybody anywhere? I'm always afraid of the silence, you know. Is there anybody who tend is there anybody who tend to have constipation or not going out regular like every day? Anybody has that problem? Or is there anyone when you go to sleep, your room is completely locked up?
Doc, good
Mhm.
night. What I heard Brother Tesman said earlier was about the sweating. And I have a low thyroid issue, so it's hypothyroidism. And the room can be as hot as ever and I'm okay. And I'm not sweating.
All
I
right.
didn't sweat.
So the problem is not so much the sweating, but the hypothyroidism that's going on. And do you know that it is treatable? That it's consistent. And there has to be some consistency in the treatment. All right, but it can be taken care of, and then the body can do its own regulation after that. All right. I tend not to sweat easily. I don't sweat easily. What it takes for when we go walking and everybody are just running water, I have to do like twice the amount
Yes,
to sweat.
yes.
But and I know I have high endurance, I a high metabolic rate, so I know this is what happened to me. I have to work really hard to get a nice little trickle. Right? But that's me. My body is like that. But it's not okay for us not to be sweating. That's a condition, a medical condition that need to be taken care of. All right. And
So,
for
Doc,
those who are having,
there's I have menopause. Would that have anything to do with thyroid too? Because I have thyroid also.
but it can be one or the other. No, most time your thyroid will affect your reproductive system itself, which is where the hormone imbalance will come.
Mm.
All right, and menopause is part of hormone imbalance. So when we look at it, we treat the hormone itself to get rid of that. It's not normal for you to have the symptoms of menopause. You're supposed to pass through one stage of life and move on your merry way. You're not supposed to suffer with it.
Oh,
All right. And that's only happened because the hormones are not working well. Okay.
wow. Thank you.
And your thyroid control your hormones. So you see the link between them.
Right, right.
All right. But they can be taken care of. All right.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Any more questions? So come next week, we're going to sit a little in the bowels, because this is where most your system is sitting there, your digestive system is sitting there, your what else we have sitting in there? it's like your second brain. It takes over from your brain sometimes. So it is just this great powerhouse of health that is right there. And there are so many things that can trigger its response. So we want to next week look at it in depth. All right. 8:31. So I take it that all questions were already answered. And if there's anything that you want to be clarified, you can write it so that when we meet again, we can look into it. But the whole idea is that the 8 laws of health is crucial. They are crucial to our overall health. And the organs of elimination, they must be taken care of. They must be seen as an integral part of your overall health. You must see it that way and do something about it. All right. See what you are doing that would prevent your body from responding the way that it ought to. Look if you're breathing well. Look if you're exercising so that the exchange of gases can take place. Look what happened when you go to sleep. If you allow the room to be such that proper sleep can take place. Look what you are putting on your skin. When you can smell the perfume, you can get fresh air if you are smelling perfume all the time. And most time we put it behind our ears. All right. So therefore, you're always smelling this thing. After a time, even your nostril become insensitive because we keep putting these chemicals so near to us. Our skin, all these things just pour right into our skins, and they can't breathe. The skin can't breathe anymore. All right. So these are conditions that we need to look at. All right. So let us pray as we close off. I trust that the information was helpful and that we look forward to come together again next week. And whatever question or changes that you need to make, you will think of doing it now. All right. Let's pray. Loving Father, we thank you for your grace and your mercies. We thank you for this beautiful, wonderful body that you have made. You have created us in your likeness and in your image, fearfully, wonderfully. You have fashioned us after the similitude of heaven. And we praise you, Lord, that you will keep it in perfect health if we become obedient. You promise us in your word that if we obey your commandments and your statutes, you will keep us from the sickness that's in the world. You also ask us that whatever we eat or drink, anything that we do must be done to your name's honor and glory. We ask you, Lord, that these will be cemented in our hearts and that every day that we go, we will seek to do nothing else than to please our God. As we go to sleep, we pray for the night's blessing. Keep our minds centered on you and wake us up again tomorrow morning, 4 o'clock, to join again, to hear more of your grace and your goodness and your mercies. Into your hands we commit ourselves. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. God bless you, everybody, until we meet tomorrow.